TNTMTheShow presents Comicast 330 with your host, the one and only X-Man, Pablo Gunner. And I am here to talk nerdy to you about this week's comics, which is March 21st. I'm going to review them on a scale of buy, skim, pass with variations of strong buy, weak buy, strong skim, weak skim, pass is pass. Then the best book of the week, we call it the B-Bow, back and bag of the week, because we put it in that nice back and bagging. Then the contender, we say contender, hey, this is a contender for runner-up. That's also another term. Runner-up for B-Bow, of course. I'll announce those probably towards the end. So, I don't have much for talking nerdy news. I did finish Jessica Jones season 2 and was a little underwhelmed, especially with the last episode. And it was lacking a main villain, but not just a main villain. There are other issues. And the best parts did have, spoiler alert, a certain character from the previous season. That's the most I'm going to give. But those were the best parts. And then once that was over, it was like, there was a lot of repetition. This one was more mental and more emotional. Yet, so was the last one. And it was way better. So, this one's one where I'm like, no rush. No rush to watch this one. Take your time. So, that's pretty much all. Like I said, still playing Kingdom Hearts, almost done beating it because I'm tired of trying to get all the trophies for it because it's ridiculous and really repetitive. So, anyways, yeah, like I said, spoiler alert. So there's spoiler alert for these comics too. I'm going to be grading them. Well, I have a timer. It's for a minute. So once that timer goes up, it's time for me to start wrapping it up and give my grade, like I said before, of these March 21st comics. I will be giving away all the digital codes. I know it's kind of early or late, depending on who you are, but it's been a crazy day. So that's all I'm gonna say, and that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Starting with Weapon H #1. It is Greg Pak writing. We have Corey Smith on art with Marcus Toe and Maury Hollowell on, I believe, colors. So we have these guys. They're obviously these Mexican workers. I believe they are speaking Spanish, so Spanish-speaking people, and they get recruited for work. Then you see them get dropped off. Then these white supremacists show up and attack them. Well, one of their crew is this guy, Weapon H. So he's trying to remain calm. And it's not so much working. So, yeah. And so then you see 13 hours later, he's now in Alaska. And so he's just trying to keep it quiet there. Then this team comes down and Roxanne and this lady's part of it, and they just leave him there. And this guy knows that, so he's helping him out a little bit, making a call for him. Turns out they're actually just there for the Wendigo. And then, so you see Weapon H's struggle. They show Doctor Strange. And then they show the family, and someone is they're not threatening the family, but the family is having issues, and it may come to that. I don't know. We'll see. So there's a lot of action, I guess. Well, I don't know. I didn't feel like there was a lot of action, but anyways, there's some action. But I will say, the ending to me really was the most important part, just because it really drove home the rest of the story of him trying to keep it on the DL and everything like that. So that is the struggle of being Hulkverine. So yeah, I will give this one. It's interesting. I don't know. It's odd too. At the same, it's definitely buy. It's definitely the buy category. You know, not quite sure if it's a strong buy or not though, but it's definitely in the buy category. So here's a digital code: F for fantastic, Z for Zabrak, M for Marv, W for Wolverine, F for fantastic, L for Logan, G for Glory, 6, B for Brave, 0, U for Ultron, and F for Fantastic. Next is Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, number 5 of 6. It's $3.99. We have James Tynion IV as the writer, Ferrier as the Ryan Ferrier as pencils or dialogue. It says art is Freddie Williams II, colors Jeremy Caldwell. And this one's just all kinds of awesome because you have Donnie and he is now hulked out. He's venomed. He's venomed out. He's Bane venomed out, all mutagened out at the same time. And he's gone and he's destroyed all these different Foot Clan posts and stuff, and he's taking on the ones that beat him essentially at the beginning of this. He takes them out. Then Batman and Leo show up to talk him down. He attacks them both. The saddest part is when he attacks Leo because it's his brother, you know? And Raph, he's worried about his dad. Robin comes in and talks to him, and he's like, hey, I think I have a way to fix him up. And so he takes him to the pit on the other side. It's pretty crazy. And they're like, hey, most people go crazy when they do this and stuff. They do end up finding a way to talk Donnie down because they show him like, hey, something's wrong with the formula that Baxter made and only you can fix it. So, yeah. Then they also show like Splinter and that he kind of went on a rampage when he did come out, but they kind of keep it on the DL. They have flashbacks to it, though. And it's pretty hardcore, and it's crazy who they go to at the end because I'm like, do they need this person? I don't know, but there's better safe than sorry, I suppose. This is a phenomenal book. This is a blast. I love it. If you're not buying it in issues, you have to get it in trade. You have to. It is phenomenal. This one is definitely a strong buy. It just keeps getting better and better. Strong buy contender. Looks great, fun, everything. Crazy, scary, intense, emotional. Runaways number 7 is written by Rainbow Rowell, which is she writes books, a novelist or something like that as well. Artist is Chris Anka. Color artist Matthew Wilson. And so this one is like this is a good jumping on point, I feel like. You have Chase Stein. He's dressing up for a interview, and Molly's like, hey, you guys have to take me to school. And they're like, school? What? You're a runaway. We don't do school. And she's like, no, I like school, blah, blah, blah. She's in middle school and stuff. So they make the adoption legal with this power spell and and stuff. So they do that. And Molly goes back to school and stuff. They have school conferences, so they have to go. Nico and Chase, he does get a job, not a very good job, but he gets a job and stuff. And then Gert and Victor, they have a little chat and stuff. It's just all kinds of fun. I have no idea where it's going, but I like that I don't know where it's going, and I love that it does that. And it's just weird, and it's fun, and it's so enjoyable. It looks great. It is just so phenomenal. I love this book. This is so great. It's weird. Well, Runaways didn't start as a fun book. And so it's never been a fun book, I feel like. It's a fun book right now. So, and I like this element, this different added element. I mean, there's been funny parts and stuff like that, but not like this. So this is definitely a strong buy. This is definitely a contender. And I think I'm going to hold on to the digital code just because I like it so much. All right. Now I have Go-Go Power Rangers number 8. This is a Shattered Grid prelude Written by Ryan Parrott, illustrated by Dan Mora, colors by Raul Angulo, letters by Ed Dukeshire. And little over 1,000 years ago, you have Centrax 4, and they defeat this planet and stuff. And Rita, she confronts Goldar and is like, I know you're here to spy on me for Lord Zed, but I reward loyalty, so I need your loyalty, or these putties can deal with you. I mean, it's your choice, whatever, And so he's like, all right, I'll stand with you. So that's what goes down, and then it gets back to what happened before, which made it slightly confusing because they don't have like an intro page. Because I was like, what was happening? Oh yeah, that guy just turned into a putty, but like a putty with many faces and kind of personalities or whatever. And so it's weird because he's like, I'm not your enemy, but they're fighting him. The Power Rangers are fighting him. He's just like kind of staving them off. And he's like, he seems really sympathetic to them, but they keep on fighting him. And then he does fight Control, and then Rita takes back Control, makes him go big, and then makes a copy, like changes himself so he's a copy of the Megazord. Then Billy's like, let's split up. We're not going to beat him like this. They know our moves. He knows our moves, and she's using him and stuff, his knowledge. So we need to split up, and that's the only way. And so that's what they do, and it works out for them. And it's a great, it's just a great, superb, phenomenal issue that ends fantastically. I can't wait to see what comes next. It seems like it's going to be really, really fantastic and probably terrifying. Yeah, definitely terrifying. So, yes, it's like Cross the Streams bad, I think, But yeah, it looks great, and this was a great issue. Ended up being really solid. So this is another one. It's a strong buy, and it's a contender for sure. On to Super Sons number 14. This is $3.99, and it does have digital code. Peter J. Tomasi is the story and words. Then we have Dono-san / Proto Bunker as colors, Carlo Barberi as pencils, Art Thiebert as inks. And so this one, if you recall, is part 2 of the Blood Relative. Talia has she has a hit on Lois Lane, and so Superboy and Robin are trying to stop her, and they figure out the location. They do their best to stop her, and Talia is like, "Let's see how weak you've gotten, my son." In her, I imagine some sort of like thick like some almost like a Russian or like Middle Eastern like mix of an accent. And I feel like Damien probably has a hint of it too. So anyways, yeah. So, and then they send ninjas and stuff out, or assassins, I should say. He defeats them, fights them in the city, but that gets him a little attention from his mom, which he does not want and stuff. And so they're like, yeah, we're just here, doing these things. But yeah, he stops Talia for now. But yeah. As a team, always as a team on this book. I love these two are working so well together. They almost work as good as Batman and Superman. Not quite, but it's great to see kind of like how young versions of them would work. So yeah, it turns out to be really, really great. I like it a lot. It's a fantastic book. Superb. Art looks great. It works. It's well done. So I give it a strong buy. I give it tender, but I'm gonna give the code away anyways. And DC for Detective Comics 817, P for Pain 6, C for Captain, B for Bane, Z for Zephyr, P for Pain, Y for Yellow, H for Hotel. I picked up The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows number 17. Does have a digital copy, and it is $3.99. Jody Houser is the writer, artist Nathan Stockman, Ruth Redmond is colorist. And this one does pick up where it left off. Where those kids, they just did these experiments on themselves and gave themselves powers. One, he's kind of like has spikes coming out of him, gave himself horns. This other girl, she has like these purple blasts. And so she kind of just lies that like that experiment they did gave her powers too. And so she's kind of, they're like, well, we want to be heroes. You know, we're outcasts, but we want to be heroes and stuff. And so they're like, all right, we'll work together and stuff. We'll do some training. So they do some training. They're like, all right, we're doing awesome. So like, all right, we're going to coach you bad guys. So they stop like a robber. Then you stop a robber and they're like, all right, I think we can take on more, you know. And so that's essentially what happens. All the while, she's trying to keep it secret that she's not who she is, you know, and she's trying to keep it secret from her dad that she's working with this crew. And so it just feels a little off and seems off and everything like that. And yeah, but they're going to try to take down a real superhero next time. That's what they want to do. And she's like, yeah, no, that's too much too soon and stuff. I'm interested to see what happens though, especially considering the person that they want to go after of interest. So it's really solid. I like it. I like it a lot. This art's a little goofy, but it fits the personality of the Parkers, I suppose. Especially this, is it anime or anime? Like anime. So anyways, yeah, or May Parker, right? Mayday. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, it's very enjoyable. I'm gonna give it a strong buy and contender, but you can have this code. 3, B for Bones, C for Cap, J for Jones, K for Keel, G for George, B for Bones, H for Home, M for Maine, 8, G for George, S for Super. Huh. Now it's time for Thanos number 17. It is also $3.99 and has a digital code. Donnie Cates is the writer. Geoff Shaw is the artist. Antonio Fabela is color artist. And we have this story. It starts off with this story of the Silver Surfer, how he became under control of this thing. He's like dark, but how he also got Mjolnir. So they go into that as well, how he became worthy and stuff. And then so you have Ghost, this Ghost Rider, who's a herald, but he's also a herald of Thanos. I don't know. And so he gets wrecked by Silver Surfer with Mjolnir. And then he released Hulk. Hulk comes out and he's like, no, Hulk, you know, I know you. And he is able to deal with him to a certain degree. But then Thanos and Thanos team up against him and they wreck him up. They beat his guts like crazy. It is insane. Like, gah. You know, like they just destroy him. And it's just freaking pure insanity. He's just totally wrecked. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then it's crazy because he's like, oh, and then that person that he's been looking for does show up. And you're like, oh my gosh. And the teaser is like crazy because you're like, all right, old man and young man's going to fight. That's really weird. So not young, I guess, but, you know, old version, regular version. I don't know. But yeah, this book is just, it looks so freaking just crazy. And the stuff in it is crazy. And it's just pure insanity and awesomeness. Strong buy, contender. I'm going to hold on to this one for now. I picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 20. This one's $4.99. It is part 2 of Service Animals with Ian Flynn as the writer, Dave Wachter as the artist, color artist Rhonda Pattison, and then for the second story, it's Through Red Eyes by Matthew K. Manning as the writer, and then Adam Gorham as artist, and then Brittany Peer as colorist. So yeah, this one picks up right where it leaves off too, and we have Alopex fighting this snake, this serpent, and then Raph is fighting this tarantula girl, or scorpion, the scorpion woman, huh? And he's getting his butt kicked, but he's still doing a decent job, and she makes him sloppy because she knows how to get on his nerves. And then Raph's like, you know what, talk to the serpent and see if you can get her on our side. And she's like, no. But then there's a whimper from the serpent, and she's like, you know, maybe she's not as bad as we thought. She gives her the speech. Then they help her. They help them, and so restrains the scorpion woman, and so tells them what's going on and what they have going on with the animals, so they're able to load up the animals and take off. I love these like soldiers that they have, because they kind of remind me of the soldiers from the Hellfire Club, like their masks and stuff. But yeah, that one, it gets really interesting and really not confusing, but just confusing in here. Your conflicted emotions is what it is, and you're just like, why did he do that? That's weird. So, but anyways, for the second story, what happens is you have Mikey, and he's playing this video game, but he's like just being really loud and obnoxious and everything. And Raph goes and attacks him, and he's like, dude, what's wrong? What's up with you? Like, this isn't you. He's, you know, in fact, that's why I thought it was Raph at first. And then Raph, he's like, they talk it out. And then Donnie's over there like messing with his gadgets and getting pissed. So yeah, this book is, I love it. I love Ninja Turtles so much. I want in all the Ninja Turtles and all the Ninja Turtle stuff, and I want a turtle. I actually used to have a turtle when I was little, and I loved him, and he ran away. But anyways, because he was free. He was a free turtle. You know, he just hung out in the yard. Anyways, this is a phenomenal book. Strong by Contender. Looks, just so stunning. All right, let's move on to X-Men Gold number 24, huh? This has a digital code, and it's $3.99. It's written by Mark Guggenheim. Artist is Tony Silas. Colorist Arif Prianto and Marcio Menis. Corey Petita's letter. So they throw down the X-Ladies. They throw down with this, with these prisoners here. I mean, they're also prisoners, but still. And they're like, hey, we don't know just how to use powers. Like, we know how to fight, period. We're trained, you know. And then Kitty's like, yep, I'm trained to be a ninja and stuff. And so they take him out, but then they look bad. It looks bad because, well, that's the thing, is in prison, it doesn't matter who starts it. It's kind of like school. It's like, as long as you fought back, you're in the wrong, you know. And so they're all solitary confinement for the next, what was it, like 3 days or 3 weeks? I don't remember. Then there's this other like Vine dude who's messing up the city, and you have the B team there with Iceman, Rogue, Eliana, Magma, Armor, and this new Pyro. And they try to stop him. They're like, oh, just burn them. You know, that's not working. They're like, okay, get to the center of this. You know, freeze them. That's not working. They find out this guy has cancer, and this is actually his cancer. I think he's a mutant. His cancer is like showing itself in real life. It's weird though, because like at one part he's like, it looks like he's legit like completely naked. But then they end up just like talking to this dude, and that's how they deal with it. And I mean, Rogue's a big part of that and helps it. So, but yeah, and then you see Storm freak out at the end. So this was really solid. I like it. It's pretty cool. The art's kind of crazy, but it works for this though. It really just works for it. It just works for it. It's great. So I love it when they show that the X-Men they don't need their powers to be able to win a fight. I love when they show that. Oh, I do. I think about it all the time. I really do. In situations like in movies or shows, and I'm like, they know how to use their stuff without powers. Or even in the comics, I'm like, they should know how to fight without their powers. You know, like that just. So I love it when they put it in. Mark Guggenheim, I feel like he gets me, you know, or I get him. I don't know. Strong by contender for sure. You can have the digital code for this one though. Here it is: 3 Z for Zarbon, X for X-Men, S for Super, X for X-Men, B for Barracks, A for Alpaca, 4 1 or no, that's an I for Icarus, and then 7 H for Hotel, H for Hotel. Let's get into some Miss Marvel, number 28. This is $3.99. It has digital code. G. Willow Wilson is the writer. Nico Leon is the artist. Ian Herring is the color artist. And so this guy, he's just wrecking the city, and Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel and the Marvelites, I'm going to call them, or the Miss Marvels, they show up. Then this other guy, he shows up where Kamala is, and it's like this all-girls school. They wear uniforms, and she's like, yeah, I just need to find a place that was like, it was plain and I could just blend in and I didn't have to do anything extra. They just expect me to just, you know, be mediocre and I don't have to carry anybody or anything like that. All the while they're getting wrecked. And then like, so he's like, yeah, I understand that. But, you know, maybe if you asked for help, they would give it. If you told them exactly what you're telling me, they would be very understandable, especially because, you know what, they picked up the slack and they need your help right now. So she shows up and she helps and she takes care of it. And then I love, there's something that happens to Miss Marvel that causes her to shrink. And then Captain Marvel is like, you know, why didn't you have Tony make you a suit like this? Oh, you can do that? Yeah, of course. I was like, oh, okay. So it wrapped up really well. I like it. And I can't wait to read more Kamala Khan. You know, that's the biggest thing about this. This arc was kind of hard to read because of the fact that I love Kamala Khan. She's a great, phenomenal character because G. Willow Wilson writes her so well. I want to say that maybe because she's writing herself. I don't know. I think every writer kind of does that with each character, at least an aspect of themselves. And so I love her. The way she's written, she's just so well done. She's a character you care about. She's smart, but she's not like ridiculously over smart, you know. She wants to help people. Like, she's human. The best part is like she's human, and also like she's brown, and she's not, you know, like Hispanic brown, but she's still brown, and you know, she's from a different culture, and I like learning about her culture this way that they do it. And it's just superb. So strong buy and a contender. I'll let you have it. F for Familia, Z for Zoran, for Marcos, T for Tomas, P for Pedro, Q for Quintana, G for Guillermo, 9, E for Eleuterio, 7, 6, J for Juan. It's time for some Atchie, number 29. It's, you know, we still have Mark Waid, but Ian Flynn's in on this one for writing as well. Then we have Audrey Mock as like the main art, Kelly Fitzpatrick, and Jack Morelli. So anyways, yeah, so he's like, oh, it's okay. I'm going to get him to fall in love with me because I'm going to play in the band, you know? You know, and he can't find his guitar anywhere. He's freaking out. He's trashing places and stuff. Then we have Mantle, and he seems like he's messing with the wires for this, or is he making it so that they definitely work? Because he wants to bring out all the mitote, you know, all the gossip and all this stuff, you know, about his dad for the Blossoms and stuff. He is harassing everybody, and then he finds out that Dilton Doily, he's the one that has his guitar, but because Archie's dad was like, hey, could you do it? But he wasn't paying attention. And so now it's all tuned up and ready to go and stuff. And then the Blossoms, they talk to their parents and get the backstory on their dad and stuff, but their dad has other plans for himself and them. So that's, yeah. And I like it a lot. I just enjoy this book. It's so great the way it's done, just like the pacing, and just it feels kind of real somehow, but it's not because it's over the top and ridiculous. But yeah, so I like it a lot, and that's why I'm going to give it a strong buy and a contender. It looks great, feels great. And it's time for me to talk about one of our sponsors, Age of Comics. And they are located here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You really need to check out their shop. I mean, you could go to their website at agecomics.store if you like, but really it's a treat to go to their store because they have this awesome sentinel head in there, like it looks like it's protruding through the wall. It's really freaking awesome. And not directions, but the address is 3700 Osuna Road Northeast, Suite 513 in, like I said, Albuquerque, New Mexico. The area code is 87109. And if you want, you could call them for any comics that you're missing or looking for at 505-884-1776. And they're usually open from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. But yeah, they're really super hardcore about comics. In fact, I went in there and there was this guy that's like a hardcore comic book collector. And he was like, yeah, thanks for pressing my comics for me, guys. Like, these look so much better, and they did. They looked crisp. I was like, oh my God, they look like practically brand new. And they're these old school comics. I was like, wow. I was really impressed. Press and clean your comics. I don't know how much that is, but they do it. And yeah, so, and then they have Funko Pops. They have a pinball machine. I think it's Spider-Man. They have all kinds of back issues. They have the new issues. We here are all about the new issues and stuff. I think JD has some Age of Apocalypse, though. He needs to finish his collection. He needs to hit them up. So I just ordered all kinds of graphic novels, too. And I think I grabbed a Walking Dead graphic novel off their shelf. They have so many graphic novels over there, Walking Dead. So I need to get caught up on that stuff. I ordered all kinds of stuff from them. And they get them quick. They get them so fast. It's ridiculous. And those guys are so knowledgeable. And I love just talking to those dudes about whatever shows. Like, I can't wait until I can talk to them about Jessica Jones. That'll be pretty great to see what they think about that. Or any of the shows like Black Lightning, whatever else is going on. So, yeah. So make sure you check them out. Talk to them. Go BS with them. Subscribe to them. And, play some pinball. Buy a Funko Pop. Have a good time. Cool. Let's get back into comics with Spider-Gwen number 30. We have Jason Latour as the Rater. Then we have Robbie Rodriguez as the artist, color artist, Rico Renzi. And so we have Spider-Gwen, and she is in, I believe, the Earth 616 right now, I think, but I'm not sure. And so she shows up, and she's like, oh my God, and they're having a talk, and they're like, all right, you know what, I can't, Spider-Gwen's like, I can't do this, I'm out of here. And so she's just like, all right, whatever. And it's weird, though, because they keep on bringing in these Watchers, and I don't like it. I do not like this Watchers element. Like, you could literally cut those pages out, and the book would still make complete sense. There is one element of it that is interesting, and it's like the daughter and son of Spider-Gwen show up. And so that's kind of cool. But the rest is just trash. I could care less. And even then, I'm just like, okay, I'm not invested in these two. Like, all right, their suits look interesting, and it's interesting that she has kids. But yeah, she's in a time period, though, where everybody is young, obviously. Captain Gwen Stacy. Come on. George Stacy, was it? Glenn? No. So she explains like, yeah, my dad, this and that. And she's like, but that's so awesome that you have powers and stuff, so there's a better place at least. And even if my dad is dead and stuff, and then it gets more weird, like I said. So this book is like, it goes up and down, it teeters in quality and stuff. There's elements that they add that aren't good. So like once again, her suit doesn't look very good. And on top of that, like this Watcher thing is not good. It looks great though, especially this having the mixing of the two worlds is so well done that it just blows my mind. Regardless, I can only give it a buy. Here's your digital code. Y for Yank 11, D for Dope 0, K for Kill, J for Jack, N for Nil 7 4, D for Dope, E for Elon. Wow, for Aquaman number 34, this is $3.99. Dan Abnett writing, but we have Kelly Jones as artist, Michelle Madsen as colors, Steve Mons as letters. And I started reading this digitally, and right away the art was very off-putting, and I did not like it. At least in digital form, it did not look very good. Now in physical form, it looks a lot better. But it's still not to my liking. It works because it's from Coram Rath's point of view, and you see how his dad raised him and stuff, and how his dad was an idiot, but like he helped fix the city and stuff, and he was like, I think he was kind of like a stonemason or something. And then like he teamed up with this kid and stuff because he had powers, but the school wouldn't take him. But he brings this guy and he's like, oh, we can do it together. We can get the real magic, the most powerful magic and stuff, and we can defeat them. That's how I'm going to defeat the Aquaman. And so, yeah, it's pretty creepy. It's pretty crazy. And it's one of those where like, I didn't like it. And I was like, this art actually looks like it would work better with Swamp Thing. And I'm pretty sure I have seen Kelly Jones do Swamp Thing art. And then it does look like legitimately Swamp Thing, but like a water version, sort of. But yeah, so it works. It's still one of those things where like, it's just very jarring too, because this whole time they've had this beautiful, magnificent, stunning art that's just astonishing and so just pretty, and then now you have this ugly, harsh art, and like I said, it's jarring. It fits because it's Coram Rath's point of view and everything like that. And he's just an ugly, evil, hateful dude. And so it works for it. It's just jarring from what I'm used to. So, like I said, because it works for it, I still give it a strong buy, but I'm not giving it a contender. Here's a digital code. DC for Detective Comics 817, R for Rick, D for Dome 0, P for Pain, F for Funk, M for Marvin 84. Next is Nightwing number 41. It's $2.99. And it is still the same writer, Sam Humphries. We have Chang as art, and then we also have Campbell and Marcelo Maiolo. So we have Guppy, and it seems like he's talking to somebody, which is probably Nightwing. That's what I thought at first. You see, like, there's this guy that had the bomb, and, it's kind of picks up before what happened last. He just grabs the dude and this motorcycle, and they haul out this window. And I'm like, you didn't die from the explosion? Like, it didn't mess you up? And then he does this other thing to swing and go into this other place. And so he survived. It's just, it looks and seems ridiculous. This guy has all these teddy bears, but they're bombs. They're actually bombs. Plans on blowing up the city. He finally catches up with him to beat him, and he tries to tempt him as well. And I really thought it was going to be this part where they're like, oh, Nightwing's so pure, he just overcomes it. There's nothing you can really corrupt him with. There's nothing. So, but he does fight the corruption because he doesn't take the coin, and then he does also get help, and he does kind of, it looks like this guy's going to get away again, but somebody's committed, and then that's it. That's the end, and it's really kind of stupid. Like, this was an awful tip for me. Like, this was an awful, like, there's some parts that are good, but for the most part, this was a pretty awful conclusion. And the villain, like, just the way everything went down. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to be a dick. Like, I know these people work hard, but you know what? This is not good. This was not, I don't know if it's like because of the art, the way they took the story, or if it's because of the writing, or both. But it just was not, like, the art looks really great. It does look superb. I really feel like it's the writing is just, it doesn't make sense. They do things, or I don't know. I'm not sure. But it just, I didn't like it. I did not like it. It looks good, and I like Nightwing, and that's the thing is I usually follow, well, sometimes I usually follow creative teams, not characters. And Sam Humphries he's not a bad writer. He was doing a phenomenal job with Green Lanterns. So I don't know why he, just maybe because that's space and otherworldly stuff, and this is more ground rooted, but he couldn't keep it grounded. Whatever. I don't know. I don't like it. I really wish, I'll be honest, I wish I would have skipped this entire arc. The entire arc. Skipped it entirely. Just dropped it for this arc. If I would have known, I would have said pass on the whole thing. Reading it, though, like I said, some things I like, some things I don't like. It evens out in this middle area. You know what's right in the middle? Skim. All right, so moving on to Green Lanterns number 43. This is $2.99. We have Tim Seeley as the writer. V. Ken Marion is the artist. Sandu Florea as, I believe pencils. And then Dene Ribeiro as colors. And this one's great because you have Jessica, and she's actually like performing surgery, like to destroy these chips or whatever that are inside their heads and these superhero heads from Earth. But she's doing it on multiple people, like all of them. I think she's trying to do it all at the same time. And she has like these, the constructs she makes are just so intricate. And like and Simon Baz is fighting this other one, and this other one's like, oh yeah, you humans, you're weak, because you all have the same thing. You're lonely. You hate being lonely. That's what makes you weak. And then this girl who Scraps, she's fighting the Night Pilot. Her helmet's like, and the Night Pilot's like, yeah, I chose this person because all these great things. And then it's like the helmet shorts out and stuff or whatever. But yeah, it's really, really freaking intense. Jessica, she needs a little help, a little encouragement. She's able to get it done. There's this crazy, scary monsters and stuff. And yeah, it just ends out really epic and really awesome. But like the ending is just kind of like, I don't know, it just seemed kind of cheesy and dumb, and like you're just like, all right, whatever. But then it's one of those things where like Simon and Jess, like they're like, oh hey, he goes to her and he's like, you really helped me and stuff because you're so comfortable with yourself being alone and stuff like that. I would need to be more like you. And then you like realize that she's not really by herself. She's actually afraid. So she uses constructs, like not to just give her company, but to protect her. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird because like the relationship stuff is what intrigues me the most. And I feel like there should be more of that. And I know they're taking it slow because that's what comics does. You don't want to jump the gun, jump the shark, whatever. So, but it was one of those where like I felt like it could be better, but it wasn't bad. So this is one where I'm like, oh, this same thing, like this arc, I probably would have been like, overall, I'm like, I'm iffy about it, right? The arc, this arc at least is a skim, but this issue is better than that. I give this one a buy. Next is Superman 43. It's $2.99. We have Patrick Gleason as the writer, Pietro De Tomasi also. And then pencils and inks is Patrick Gleason and Joe Prado. Colors, Stephen Downer. Rob Boulay is letters. So you have Bizarro Boy. No, it's Boyzaro. And he shows up, and you also find out that what Nobody has been doing. The girl Nobody, she's been like spying on this girl as well as spying on Jonathan. Excuse me. And like I said, you have Boyzaro. He goes and he visits Jonathan, and then the dad finds out Superman, and he attacks Boyzaro. And he's like, no, Dad, no. And he's like, oh, well, they're really messed up. Boyzaro did something by accident. And then Superman explains something to Jonathan. He's like, in Bizarro World, they're backwards, so you have to turn things back. And Superman knows how to talk to him, which I love that he knows how to talk to him, which is great. Then they have this Rob Zaro. And it's this Bizarro Robin, and he's like a mustache, and he's like hitting on the girls, and he's really inappropriate, and and he's all like skinny, and it's weird. It's hilarious. But then he explains like the Justice League, or the Bizarro Justice League has been disappearing, and like the dad has been going crazy, and he's been mean to the dad and the mom and stuff, or his wife. So Superman puts him in his place, and then I was like, all right, kids, go back and I'll deal with this. And then you find out there's more truth to those kernels. So this one is so well handled, so well. I love a good Bizarro story, and this one's Boyzaro and Rob Zaro. It's so ridiculous, so good. Oh my God. It's a strong buy. It's a contender. Okay, it just looks so great. The art's done so well. I just love how this artist so easily shifts from to Bizarro characters and Bizarro World stuff to the bright and colorful, Superman and Superman World and Jonathan, and then like I said, the dark, ugly characters and world of Bizarro. Okay. Let's do some Batman 43. It's $2.99 with Tom King as the script, Mikel Janin as art, and as let's just go with that. And then Hugo Petrus as well, and then June Chung as color. Card. So Batman he's in the hospital, he's recovering, and his doctor is Harley, but she's being controlled by Pamela, who is controlling everybody. And then Catwoman is talking to Pamela and messing with her head and stuff so that she doesn't have that good of control. And she's like, oh yeah, well, I killed those people, and that's why I'm all messed up, and I got to stop this, and I'm healing the world, and I'm healing the planet, and I'm healing people and stuff. But then it's just it's one of those, it's a distraction. Batman's distracting on both ends. And then Catwoman knocks her out with just enough time so that Batman can get through to Harley Quinn, because he's Harley Quinn is probably one of the least controlled, because she's they love each other, They're kind of best friends, but also kind of best friends that love each other to the point almost like a couple, you know what I mean? You can be that close. You see some awesome Batman in action, Batman moves and stuff, and then they figure this whole thing out, and that it's interesting how this feels more like a detective book than detective comics. So that's what it comes down to, and it's handled and dealt with from what we've seen. I kind of felt like it was handled somewhat easy, but considering what it was, it makes sense. So strong buy, contender, and it looks just glorious. So well done. Dun, dun, no. Star Wars number 45. It is $3.99 as a digital code. Kieran Gillen is the writer. Salvador La Roca is the artist. Guru EFX is colorist. And this one's great. I love how Han keeps on making fun of Luke about milk, but he's like, I'm getting milk, and like, because he doesn't drink, he's just like this nerd dork, with his blue milk. Or is it green milk? I want to know. But yeah, they pretty much have like a rogue squadron meetup and stuff. And then Leia's there for this mission. She wants to talk about breaking out the king. And they're like, we wanted to do that forever. And they're like, yeah, but I have a plan. They're like, well, you're going to have to do this and this for this plan to work. And she's like, exactly. And I have something to do just for that. This art is just, oh my gosh, it just looks so good. Like it almost looks like stills or like painted stills or something from the movie. It's so ridiculous. He's hanging out with Wedge. He even calls out the names. Luke calls out the names of the lost, of the dead, and that's so great. And you see some of this plan enacted and stuff. Leia uses herself as bait to get in this situation. They kind of do like a Rocket thing where they mess things up and they have to work real quick. But Luke helps out, and then they find out who this person is, and you're like, what? You're like, that guy's dead, isn't he? And they're like, oh, that's not who it is. And then you're like, oh man, that was dirty. That was messed up. So good. Oh my gosh, they make such good. But you know what? They have to make great Star Wars comics, because if they didn't, they have to. It's just so great. So great. Such good characterization. So it's so on point. And the visuals, everything about it, all of it, the shading, the textures, the tones, everything about it just is so prime. It's such at a top-notch level. It's just atrociously good. It's a strong buy. It's a contender. You know what? I'm going to hold on to this digital code. Let's get into Tales of Suspense, number 103. It's Red Ledger, part 4 or 5, featuring Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier. Writers Matthew Rosenberg, artist Travel Foreman, color artist Rochelle Rosenberg. Sorry, people. So what happens in this one? You have Natasha, and it's like a month ago, and like she's in this weird like dreamscape or something. There's a bear there, and he's like, I'm not supposed to be here. Don't tell him I'm here, And then you have this Russian guy, and he's like, hey, what's going on, And they're like, you still loyal? And she's like, yeah, I'm still loyal and stuff. And you're like, what? This is weird. And so then she like sneaks into this place, and she finds out that there's all these clones of her. And so there's this guy, and he keeps all the clones of all the different Black Widows and all these different operatives of the Red Room. He stores those memories in his own head. That you can put those memories back into the clones when they need them. And you can tell, like, this guy, this Arcade, he's like, no, you're not dead. Yeah, God forbid, And you're just like, man, you're so full of crap. And so she creates this plan to, like, pretty much just take them all out and down and stuff and get free, kind of. But she uses them in a bad way. And it just keeps on looking worse and worse and worse to the point, and it catches up to the point where Hawkeye and Bucky saw her. And then what happens, like, it's just like, it just looks so bad, but you're like, oh, this is spy stuff. There's got to be more to it than what meets the eye, because there always is. Then I'm like, man, this is messed up. I like that each one has been different, like, narrative and point of view. Like, first it was Hawkeye, then it was Bucky, now it's Natasha. It's crazy. So I think she did actually die, but this is the program. So this is how it is right now. This is great. I love the way this book looks. I love the way it plays out and everything. It's just, this is a hardcore spy book. This really is legit, like, spy stuff. And it just works out great. Like, it's over my head. That's like how smart it is. I'm not that smart anyways, but, so it's not that hard. But still, So yeah, it's a strong buy. It's a contender. I'll let you have the digital code. D for Diego, O for Oscar, F for Familia, D for Diego, W for Guarita 76, S for Senorita 7, T for Tito. I'm drawing a blank. X for Xavier 9. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Wow, okay, now I have cable number 155. Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler are the writers. Herman Peralta is the artist. Jesus Aburtov is the color artist. Travis Lanham is the letter. Okay, so this starts with, I believe it's a young Cable and his arm technovirus, and how there's this monster chasing him and stuff. And yeah, and then he talks about just like him, and he's time traveling, and he saves this girl. He takes him to the future because they're like, they won't find you in the future and stuff because Nimrod's looking for him. And so, yeah, he's just doing his thing. Then you have Hope, and she, right? Is it Hope? Yeah. And so she shows up at the school and is like, hey, I just need some downtime, you know. I need to not feel alone. And then this monster shows up and attacks Hope and is like, I'm just looking for Cable and stuff. And so Cable does show up, and this creature scarred Hope the way Cable scarred, like around his eye. It's crazy and messed up and stuff. And they have a daughter-father chat that is really so wonderful. And then they go into like, he's like, you know what, there's a monster that I'm afraid of, and I have to kill it. I have to do it on my own. And she even says, like, you don't do stuff on your own. You get teams together, and that's how you complete the mission. And so it doesn't look good for him, but we will see. And this is exactly what I want out of a Cable story. Like, I want it to be personal, especially because Cable's so, to me, like, Cable's so stoic and so emotionless. And to put him in these situations where he's kind of compromised, like when you put him with his dad, like Cyclops, younger Cyclops, and his mom, Jean Grey, younger version of his mom, like he gets really like kind of emotionally compromised or something. He just gets like, and so it messes with his head. And so I that's Cable at its best, I think. You know, like, yeah, it's cool to see him like cold and calculating sort of, but also see him when he's vulnerable. And this is just nuts what we're seeing here. So yeah, it's a strong buy. It's definitely a contender for me. This is exactly what I want out of a Cable book. So yeah, it has just blew me away. I'm in it for this arc. That's what all I gotta say. So yeah. And yeah. I'm gonna hold on to this digital code because why the not? Why the not F? Last book is World War Hulk 2. Oh, it's the Incredible Hulk number 714. It has a digital code, and this is $3.99. We have Greg Pak as the writer. Carlo Barbary is the penciler. Walden Wong is inker. Ryan Stegman does the stuff at the end. And then colorist Frank D'Armata Corey Petit is the letter. Oh, so this one's cool. So they got back and they crashed. They crashed the ship, but they're just like, whatever. I love this Hulk. He apologizes to the sister of Amadeus Cho. And so Amadeus Cho is actually like trapped in the trunk, of his mind. But the Hulk is using the smarts because he can access his smarts to help. And so they're like, oh, you're destroying everything. And they're like, he did, but he saved everybody. And they're like, oh, right on. Then there's this person who broke loose of this prison, and he's going to go attack Hulk. He gives the coordinates of where he is so that they can have a straight up brawl, but they're going to do it where there's no people around. And he messes him up, like calculating all the math and everything. And like, it's just so awesome the way it happened. This is what I want to see in Hulk comics. This is what I want to see with Amadeus Cho, but I kind of wish it was Amadeus Cho and not this evil Hulk, but it works. This works. Not evil Hulk, but Hulk. And so you see, but he pretty much not claims war, but he kind of like is like, hey, if anybody wants to take me, this is how I handle stuff, and that's it. So at that point, everyone's going, no way this is Amadeus, right? Because Amadeus is acting crazy if this is him. So but this is so great. And yeah, it's great. So it's a strong buy and it's contender, but yeah, I'll hold on to the digital code for this one too because I feel like it. Actually, you know what? I'll give it away. Here it is. 4, G for Glory, O for Oscar, Z for Zamboni, H for Hotel, O for Oscar, V for Victor, O for Oscar, 2, C for Camel, T for Tame, V for Vegeta. All right, it's time for me to announce my my back and bag and runner up for the week, and it is there is some really good stuff, things that just they're just so freaking amazing. I just want to pick all of these books, honestly, is what I want to do. But yeah, you know what? I think I've said enough. When it comes to a lot of things, there's certain things that I said that just, yeah. Runaways is going to be my runner-up. So I'll go ahead and give that digital code away. V for Vegeta, E for Elon, Y for Yucca, U for Ugly, 3-6, A for Alpaca, 4-9, 4, O for 0, Z for Zarbon. Like I said, it's fun and it just looks great and superb and it's just fantastic. I'm gonna go with Cable as my back and bag of the week. Like I said, this is what I want to see out of Cable. This was perfect, and the great moments with him and Hope, his daughter. I know she's like adopted, but he's been with her so long, and I don't think she really has a real father. So that is the real father, and people that have been raised by their adopted family for long enough, they just see them as that. There is nothing else, even if they know they exist, they're like, no, you're not my dad. It's kind of like Yondu to Star Munch in the Gardens of Galaxy 2, Volume 2. So, and it looks so good. It's just soft when it needs to be, rough when it needs to be, and it just works so well. So, yeah, this is my B-Bow right here. It's Cable 155. And here's a digital code. F for Familia, Z for Zoro, and for Marcos, 3, G for Gloria, 6, 5, 8, X for Xavier, J for Juan, 6, J for Juan. And I guess I still have a couple books left to give away, which is Star Wars, which is also, so good. F for Falcon, Z for Zabrak, M for Millennium, Q for Quantum, H for Hotel, F for Falcon, Y for Yancey, J for Gypt, P for Pain, 5, D for Delta, 6. And then lastly, Thanos, which was, I'm more excited for the next issue to see what goes down, but this was brutal. This one was brutal. F for Familia, C for Carlos, and for Marcos, U for Uganda, H for Hector 195, D for Diego, U for Uganda, K for Kilo, A for Alamos. And that is it for me for this week. Thank you for watching. I got no viewers the whole time I did this because it's the middle of the night, and that's just fine with me because now it's going to be harder for people to get codes, I believe. So, or it's going to be more fair for more people, I think, hopefully. Yeah. So that's it. And, talk nerdy to me. I'll talk nerdy to you. You can find all Talk Nerdy to Me stuff at TNTMTheShow, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, different things, different strokes, different for different folks, all kinds of different things on the YouTube. We have gaming stuff on there. We have we have trivia, interviews, all kinds of goodies. So various types of things. So check them all out at TNTM the Show. And keep your hosts hungry for comics.